I'm Malia White, real-life bosun and cast member on Bravo's Below Deck Med. Working in my industry can be very interesting. These are my stories. As you'll find out, my world is a total ship show. Hey guys, welcome back to Total Ship Show. This is part 2 of our live episode. Every year on the show, we like to hear from our fans and answer your questions. So thank you for sending in your questions. This year, we happen to do it live. Hopefully, we'll do it live again because that was lots of fun. So yeah, here are your most asked questions for myself and Katie.
How many pull-ups can you do?
This is a question for Malia, guys.
Can you do a pull-up, Katie?
Yes, I can do a pull-up.
I'm just asking a question.
Probably like 5.
That's
I'll go with
Maybe
like
7.
a half a 1 or 1. That's where I draw the limit.
I can probably only do 1 these days, if that. Okay, so I know you get asked this question all the time, but I think it's an important one. So for someone who's interested in getting into the deckhand role, what do you recommend? And I would also like to hear from Katie if they're interested in getting into a role in interior. What do you recommend?
Yeah, for the deckhand role, first off, just know like what you're getting into. It is a very serious role. Our work on deck is dangerous. It can be hazardous at times. You know, you're dealing with a lot of machinery, anchors, lines, fenders, you know, the boat itself, tenders. So you know that it's not easy and it is hazardous. And yeah, the first thing you should do is get your STCW. And then the next thing you should do is try to get a qualifying certificate. So if you can get any sort of captain's license, like a 50-ton or 100-ton or a powerboat level 1, powerboat level 2, just anything that gives you some experience behind the wheel of a tender, that's where I would start.
We have a saying on a yacht, like safety never takes a day off. And that is the one thing that is drilled into not just deck crew, every single crew member employed on a vessel. Safety is what's drawn,
Yeah, we're constantly trained.
We are trained constantly, week after week. We're doing training due to safety.
Like fires are the most common incident on boats. So we have to I've been trained in firefighting, Katie as well. We all get trained in basic firefighting. I've now been trained in advanced firefighting. It's intense. On yachts, we have like BA kits and we've got to don like an actual firefighting kit in case there is like one of our colleagues is down and we have to rescue them.
I normally just like the firefighters and not actually doing firefighting.
we know. Okay, so Katie,
Katie
what
loves
about you?
firefighters.
Yeah, so like if you're going through the interior, it's exactly the same as what Malia said. You need an SCCW. That is a basic certificate to be any form of crew member on a vessel. Like in the maritime industry, every single seafarer is what we're called, holds that certificate. For me, like it's, any sort of hospitality, bartending, waitressing, anything like that is an absolute bonus. And yeah, like interior is obviously a very different route than working on the exterior. The exterior, like I would say, this is like a career for them. Like when you start as a deckhand, you can make your way up to a captain. On the interior, yes, you can make your way up to a chief stew like me, but it's not something I'm going to do for the rest of my life.
I want to add something to Katie because I don't think she gives herself and like the interior enough credit. Just because you're joining the interior of a yacht doesn't mean that you don't have to be as like seaworthy and like in that mindset. You're still part of the muster list. Like Katie plays in a huge role. If there was an emergency, Katie's role is pretty much unmatched. So if you think you're going to come in and be like this bimbo, like interior stewardess, that's not what these chicks are about. Like they're hard. Like Katie's a boss bitch and she works hard and the interior is just as serious.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Plus, like, let's talk about the other part of your job, which is Katie keeps track of like all the finances on the boat. You know, she does provisioning. She keeps track of like, alcohol consumption, which we know is high.
So how does that work?
Let's just say my crew is very well looked after.
Yeah, so Katie right now shares like a purser's role, but there are pursers. But if you're operating on a boat that doesn't have one, like your chief stew does all of that. She's basically the accountant, the liaison, the front man person. Like if you think that interior crew
I'm basically
are just
the captain's
personality,
PA from time to time too.
So I'm just saying that like if you think that interior doesn't have it tough or they don't use their brains as much as deck crew, you're wrong. They do. She has a lot going on in there. In your brain and at work.
In my brain. I try to.
Okay, so another question. Have either of you had any experience on sailing yachts?
I personally have not. I don't think I could do it. I get very seasick, and the way this sailing yacht works and like the way that thing lists, it would just make me angry, I think.
I've not worked on a sailing yacht. I've done some sailing for fun, and yeah, I think it's a lot of fun, but I'm not eager to jump
I
on
think for me it would be more of like a leisure activity.
Yeah.
Like there's so many insane sailing yachts in this
Let's keep that
industry
for
that are
fun.
like beautiful, but not to work on, like for leisure.
Agreed. I can't imagine being on one for like 15 days at a time.
I admire true
Yeah.
sailors that can sail a sailboat. Like
It's gnarly.
That's
my hands are up
amazing.
to you.
I take my hands off to Daisy from Below Deck Sailing.
Yeah,
like,
Daisy.
She's a
Yes.
boss bitch, and
love Daisy.
how she like when the boat lists and everything goes flying. Like I get angry when we're on a motor yacht and it's like a little bit bumpy. I'm like, what is
Yeah.
this shit?
Yeah,
I do not operate like this.
yeah. And
So
also,
I take my hat off to her.
Dustin from season 2. Like
yeah,
he,
the one-armed sailor.
like, one arm, one leg,
arm, one leg, and traveled around the entire world.
and he
by
sailed the
himself.
entire world. What's
I mean,
your
there's
excuse?
really like, how
Just
can you be? Yeah, I mean, there's really nothing more admirable. Like, that's
Yeah.
insane.
It's pretty badass. Sailing's
It's
like
so
badass,
badass.
but
Yeah.
no, I
Not
give me a
yet.
motor yacht. I'm a motor yacht girl.
Yeah.
What's our next?
Okay, so here's a question: who are the random people on dock that are catching your lines? Do you just throw to anyone?
No.
No.
Okay. So
One time I was walking a dock and this yacht was like, "Hey."
Look,
Catch
to
my-
be fair, there
catch
are
my
times
line.
if you're setting
There are,
sail at early hours in the morning, or if the owner on the boat's like, we gotta go, then sometimes like the crew will jump off the boat and like undo the lines and jump back on, or you'll ask a random guy on the boat next to you, like, hey man, can you like, we gotta go.
or we'll
But
send the tender.
in an official like port when we're pulling in, that's not the case.
Yeah, so basically it's the harbor master or the line handlers, but that's their job. Their job is to greet the yacht as it comes in, catch the lines, get shore power connected, get water connected. There's a lot that goes in. And that's another interesting thing you probably don't see on the show, but when the ship comes in, if you think of all the mechanics and all the side, like the engines and things that are running, when we come to dock, all that changes. So we tie up the lines, we switch to shore power so our generators aren't constantly running. We shut down our engines, we switch to dock water.
So that's part of an
So our
engineering duty.
Our water makers aren't running. Yeah, so it's a shared duty between deck and engineering. But yeah, those guys are there. Sometimes they're good at their jobs. Sometimes they are.
Sometimes you have to tell them, you're like, no, we're putting the line here.
Sake. Sometimes you're like, can you get that line on? And they're like walking, and you're like, could
Do
you
this for a job?
get it
you're-
on
so
sooner?
you're really dependent on them, and you don't. It's not like you don't know them. You're just
No.
the
No.
rules are the rules. So you
And
just
like your
have to sort of
captain's like, get
communicate
that
them.
line on, and you're
Yeah,
like,
when
well,
the captain's like, get the line
fine.
on, you get the line on, but the douchebags
and they're
on
sitting
the
there
dock,
like trying to untie
you're like,
the
no,
line, and you're like,
loop.
do you think that maybe you could hurry, or should we just be on your time?
I love it.
Yeah. They make a lot of money though. It's good job.
So, are you guys allowed to bring back your uniforms? Do you have special costumes from or for provisions, or a daily budget for the crew?
So on a
yeah.
normal yacht, you do not. The uniform is the boat's property.
Yeah.
On below deck, because they're not going to use a bright red polo that says Lady
Yeah,
Michelle.
we don't
on it
wear
ever
bright
again.
red in
Like,
real
that
life,
is not
by the
a
way.
thing.
Yeah.
No, because it's boat property. Uniform is expensive, and when you're on a big boat with like 50 to 60 crew, that is hundreds of thousands of euros or dollars worth of uniforms. So
Yeah.
absolutely not.
But no,
This is what you're wearing.
the uniform's part of the boat. So when we leave our uniform, and the boat, that's boat property.
You know, when we lived together, you left your Sirocco.
Oh.
Yeah, but that's
pullover
below
in
deck.
our-
That's
no,
what I'm
but
saying.
she left her Sirocco pullover in my closet when I moved. I donated it, and then I was like, man, I should have sold that on.
Mate, yeah.
Yeah.
I should have
People-
said like,
yeah.
oh, Malia farted on this just for you. And I sold it for like
I probably
We
did.
can make an
$1,000 or
OnlyFans
something.
about that now,
Yeah.
probably.
Man, I blew it. Damn it. Okay, so Malia, what's the hardest thing about working on deck?
Ooh, hardest thing about working on deck. To be honest, sometimes it can be, as a bosun, it can be kind of lonely, because especially as a woman, because you don't have a lot of other females on deck. So sometimes, you know, boys will be boys and they have their banter, and sometimes you're just kind of left out. That can be hard. Physically, sometimes my job can be really tough. Like I'm 32. I'm quite, like I try to stay in shape, but my job can be physically demanding. So like 11 weeks straight of every single day putting up and down a slide or putting out jet skis and a tender I'm exhausted.
Dude, even our fenders on board are stupidly
our
heavy.
fenders are bigger than
we have
me.
the biggest fenders on the planet, and like interior, we come and help with fenders, and I'm like, holy fuck.
So I'd say like physical exhaustion sometimes is tough. Yeah. So yeah, physical exhaustion. Like there's days where I wake up and I'm like, I actually don't know if I can push through, but I have to because I lead a team. And then I'm like,
that's the hardest part.
Yeah. And if one of my teammates is exhausted, I have to pick up that slack because that's what I'm there for,
Okay, I have a fun question. So if the cameras did not follow you, would you pop a hole in the slide?
100%.
I would do it for the deck crew too.
Like without a doubt. The slide. Sorry, but seriously, they're expensive.
They're so expensive. You know why they have your bloody name logo down the side of it? And to be fair, this summer we actually have a lot
I want
of
to
fun
take
on
this
the
one.
slide.
Just to be clear, okay. So we talk about the slide here, my arch nemesis. Just to be clear, a slide on a super yacht is custom built. So they come on and they say, yeah, it makes sense for the slide to go here. This is how we'll inflate it. Because it weighs a shit ton. Like on our boat right now, it weighs over a ton easily. You can't lift it.
It goes from our sun deck. Like it's huge.
Deck crew to deploy and bring in the slide. And it takes about an hour to set it up. But they come in and they say, yeah, this makes the most sense. On below deck, they just get a generic slide and say,
this will be fine.
So it's not
You're
custom.
Like, this isn't fine. This is not fine.
Yeah, it shows up on the dock and they say, well, we ordered a slide. We think it's the right dimensions. Figure it out. So when you see us like f***ing around with the slide and we're like, oh, we don't know. Can we inflate the fender? Can we like, and Captain Sandy's like, get the slide up. I'm like, yeah, great, Captain Sandy. Do you think you could show me where you think this slide goes? Because it doesn't fit. So yeah, that's what's great about the slide on below deck. And 1,000% I would pop it.
But 1,000. You know what? You guys always do such a good job at putting it up.
And I can tell you right now, it takes 15 knots of wind, 15 knots of wind to make the slide not go up. I prayed for 15 knots of wind every single day.
That's not a lot of wind.
I was like, please be windy today. We can do jet skis, but we just can't do the slide. At like 15.2, I was like, nope, too windy. Sorry, can't put it out.
Safety never takes a day off.
Questions is so great because I've actually been trying to get the answer to this question myself. This is from William and Lily. What really happened in Split?
Oh, we were just talking about this.
Come on, get dirty with us.
Guys,
tell us
look,
everything.
it's been a year and a half and no one has got the answer out of it. And I am so sorry to say, but that is it.
Mary, we know you're watching, but we'll get the answer.
Yeah, my mom's watching. So. Let's keep this PG-13. No, I don't think we have an answer because we don't remember.
We had just wrapped 6 weeks of filming and it was like the most chaotic season I've ever done.
Yeah.
And you guys saw me, I worked 20-hour days. I was a zombie.
We slept, we drank, we did not leave the house.
And so when we went to Split, it was just this cluster basically.
Let's just leave it at Bender.
Yeah. You guys can fill in the blanks.
Next question.
All right, that's fair. From Bridget, are either of you planning or hoping to do another season of Below Deck?
So this is the kind of thing, this is actually fully out of our control. This really comes down to casting and production. So the way it works with casting is each year they put a group of people together which they think are going to work or not work. Yeah. And it really comes down to that. That is the defining factor in us going back or not. We still talk a lot to production and Bravo and all of that.
I wouldn't say no, but we're
oh
yes.
Yes. Love this question.
Yes.
One Malia and Katie, is Lexie really saying yes?
And 110% yes.
She just
I
was,
had a moment. There's a moment, and obviously it does not make it to air. When I went down, so it's called the control room. So production has 2 cabins on the boat. One where we keep all the camera gear, and the other one's the control room. And I think it was after one of the blowout. I think it was when I was in the galley with Lexie, and I had that moment with her, and I was like, dude, what the is going on? And she picked up the phone, started calling her mom, and I was like, what the And I went straight down to that control room, and I was like knocking on the door. I was like, I need to speak to you guys. And I had the producers out there, and they literally unmiked me, took me outside, took a camera off me, and I was like, what the is this shit? I was like,
This is why Katie charges her crystals.
Like, I was
It's
like,
Lexie.
this, and I said to them, I was like, this is bullshit. And they were like, okay, speak to us. And they literally were like unmiking me, and I'm losing my shit. I was like, what the like,
but like,
why?
let's keep in mind that like before everything went down with Lexie, the like red flag moment for me was that I walked into the cabin because I was the lucky cabin mate. We walked in, and I was like, Lexie's having a conversation with someone, but her phone was on her bed. And I was like, who the is she talking to? And then I'm listening, and there's just some wild shit going out. And I was like, there's like a brawl going on in the bathroom. And I'm like, but I'm pretty sure it's just her in there. And yeah, that's when she started calling herself Satan. And I just went to production. I was like, she's calling herself Satan.
It was almost like scary though, because then I said to them, I was like, and
then she told me she was gonna like beat me up, and I was like, okay.
She had just lost her father, right? Like she was going through a really dark time, and like I honestly, I'm a very empathetic person, and I said this to her in the conversation I actually had with her about this never made it to air. When I said you need to put your mental health first, I said none of this shit matters. This
she
is
had some
all
shit
bullshit.
going down for sure.
I was like, Lexie, I will need to know if you are okay and if you're not, and if you're not, I will do everything in my power to make you sure you're okay. But she also just had this
weird complex that she was like, I'm the second stew, and like everyone else is.
I don't do laundry. I was like, bitch, I'm the chief stew, and I do laundry. Shut the
down. And I was like,
this
what?
Okay, you know what? Any single girl that wants to get into yachting
live without the bosun or the second stew. Bye, bitch. So when you ask me what it's like being roommates with Katie, I mean, I've been roommates with Lexie, so it's a godsend.
Okay, so this is a fun question. We'll start with Katie. So Katie, where's your favorite place you've been while yachting?
Alaska. Alaska is honestly the most insane place I've ever done. Like
you were like making cocktails on icebergs.
Yeah, literally, we did some really cool stuff. We'd like break off some iceberg and would serve like oysters on it.
Maybe don't tell people that. This is America. We like our icebergs.
Oh yeah, sorry. I'm probably gonna get sued for that or something.
Okay, no, I love this because I took an Alaskan cruise this year, and it was amazing.
What it is? I think it's so different. Like it's not normal yachting, right? So to be able to do that on a yacht, and like we would literally be anchored in between glaciers, and it was just the coolest thing. Would see orca whales, would see like bald eagles, there'd be bears. It was just the
hot Alaskan bearded men.
Yeah,
I wouldn't go
that's not a real thing,
but
I'm sure they're out there. But I don't see it.
Would have the bow of the boat right under like a waterfall, and it was just, I don't know. For me, it was just the coolest experience of my life to be on a super yacht in the middle of Alaska, anchored in between glaciers. And like we would cruise through like ice water. So like you went down to your cabin and you could hear like the ice like crackling on the side of the yacht. And you're like, wow, this is so creepy, but so cool.
Okay, Malia, where's your favorite place that you've been while yachting?
So I haven't been to Alaska yet on a boat, but I would say mine is the Galapagos. I was the deck dive instructor at the time, and I got to do some pretty amazing diving. So the Galapagos is amazing. It's just untouched, and the nature experience, it's all about nature. So you're not worried about who's the richest, who's the fanciest. That's not my vibe. It's not about who has the biggest boat or who's the richest or who can flash anything. It's all about nature. So I was diving with penguins. I saw my first hammerhead shark. I saw a school of eagle rays, mobula rays. I dove with penguins. I just loved it.
Is that where you did your hammerhead dive?
No. Okay. I have since done a great hammerhead dive. That was Bimini. But yeah, my top yachting experience so far is through the South Pacific, the Galapagos, Tahiti, Fiji, and New Zealand.
Okay, so from Lily, we have the majority of your charter guests. Are they European, American?
Ooh.
Oh, thank you. I'm
Are we how am I
double
supposed to
fisting now.
fist?
I'd say
I'm already double fisting with the question. And trust me, it's hard with these little hands.
I'd say the majority of our charter guests are actually American. Yeah. So, and they're our favorite. Americans are our favorite charter guests.
They're just Americans in general. You guys love a theme. You love to have fun, and like that.
We love a theme.
In a
Yeah.
shocking turn of events, Americans love a theme.
I love
I'm
it.
sorry, but the trick to charter guests is we like anyone that doesn't treat us like we're just crew,
Yeah.
which I think Americans are good at. Americans are like,
Like,
yeah,
the thing
let's
is, like,
hang
we're
out.
in your space. Like, we get to know you very personally. Like, we're up in your grill 24/7. So when you
So
have,
be nice to your crew
yeah,
wherever they are, your staff.
yeah.
Always.
Yeah.
I love it.
You get so much better out of them.
Mm.
So much more out of them.
Yeah.
Okay, so the next question from Brenda.
Brenda.
Full disclosure. My mom's name is Brenda and she's
Oh, is this your
watching, So I
mom?
guarantee this is my mother.
Brenda.
What are you drinking? Also
Oh.
very timely.
Wow.
Is this
All right.
actually your mom? She would ask this.
Brenda?
100% this is my mom. If she's going to ask a question, it's about the alcohol.
I'm drinking an old fashioned, and I've had a few.
Brandy. I'm drinking a gin and tonic, as you know.
Brenda's. I am a tequila slut, so I am drinking tequila.
By the way, Hail Varsity Club, these cocktails are banging. Thank you.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
they're so great.
I've had a few.
So
Yeah.
good.
Cheers,
So good.
everyone.
Cocktails here are so good.
It takes a lot to impress a chief stew, and well, actually, not.
I
deck
mean,
crew.
it
We'll
actually
drink
only takes
anything.
tequila, but
this is a great old fashioned.
Okay, so from Lily, are there common industries that the guests have made their wealth from?
Yes.
Investment banking.
Yeah.
that
They're
and you-
usually an investment banker of some sort.
And I would say most people that I've worked for are self-made.
Yeah. The yachting you see in mainstream media, you see like Leonardo DiCaprio having these big parties out on yacht. That stuff
He was the
does
biggest
happen.
disappointment I've ever
That stuff
seen.
does happen, but for the majority, we work for very nice, well-rounded people, and it's a lot more mellow than you see.
What you think?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've worked for a lot of owners that they'll just be like, oh, the crew, do you want to go diving? Like, you guys
Yeah.
go dive. You're never going to get, like, you might not ever get to come to the Galapagos again. So you guys all go dive, or you guys all go out to this restaurant because, you know, we're here. We've got this reservation. You guys should experience it as well. We had a charter this summer that was constantly sending us out to dinner. And we were like,
Yeah, it
do
was
they not like the
every
food on board?
night.
Like,
They were
what's
sending
going on?
different parts of the crew, and the guy was like, "Just take my card." We're like, okay.
They were
okay."
amazing. Like, you
Yeah.
get some really, really great
Yeah.
people.
Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, this is
Yeah.
kind of a unique question. Do you practice drills for ship hijacking by drug pirates or human smugglers?
Yes, we do
Some.
actually.
Wow,
so we
actually, yeah.
constantly and this is something that you don't see in the show as well, but we constantly drill.
Mhm.
Pirates still exist. Yeah. And we have to drill that. We drill hijacking, we drill bomb threats, fire.
So we actually have
collision.
on a yacht, you'll have a call button. So if we ever got hijacked by pirates, there is a certain few call points.
SSAS button.
There you go. Like, she knows the terminology. That's not my department. But there's certain buttons. So if we were ever hijacked by pirates, if we were like in the Red Sea or something like that, going down to the Maldives or Thailand,
Yeah, that's some like Hollywood shit. You see them like press the button under the counter.
like it exists. We
that.
have that on a
It
yacht.
exists.
So if that happens, people can go up and push it, and then that basically sends a signal to our management company, and then they will alert everyone needed
What-
to know
it
to
actually,
be like,
it actually alerts the special forces in our area.
yeah.
So like
Wow.
if there's like a gray day and I just want some like hot men, just press that button. No, I'm kidding. That's really expensive. It alerts the Coast Guard and special forces to come save us. But yes, to answer the question, we drill all the time. That's a huge part of our job. Yeah, not to bring up anything from past seasons, but that's also why like sobriety, drug use, everything is always the captain's discretion because we are constantly ready for any sort of emergency.
Okay, so here's another question. I think the answer to this is no,
I like
but
this group. That's savage as fuck.
they're wild.
Yeah, they knew exactly what I was referencing.
They're staying until we lock
we
it
need
down
people
tonight.
who are coherent enough to do the side of the job that's important. Anyway.
Okay, so I think the answer to this is no, but are there any A-list celebrities that you can name that you've seen on yachts?
Leonardo DiCaprio.
I mean, we've seen him on Beyonce and Jay-Z, duh.
I know someone who had Beyonce. Yeah, I can't say who, but yeah, we've had a few. But I would say,
will
okay,
never
I would say for the
disclose.
majority, you see these celebrities on yachts, they're usually guests.
I guess.
No, I'm being serious. Like A-list celebrities most of the time
They're
can't
invited guests.
afford to own a yacht, so they're guests. So like this
Wait,
season,
I will say
we were
one
in-
person that is consecutive with chartering a yacht that I know in the industry has been Rihanna.
we saw LeBron James was next to
Oh,
us this
he was
summer.
right next
He
to us
was
in
working
Portofino
out.
this year, and we
Oh
were
my
all
God.
He was
literally
working out with his
in
band.
the Sky Lounge.
If you
like,
ever need to get all the female crew on deck, get LeBron
and
James next to
Interior, it
you.
was literally
Just
we were
doing
all
his
just in this
at-home
one
workout
area.
on
No,
deck.
he
on
was
this-
literally shirtless in like
He
these
is so
spandex, just
ripped.
working out.
I
And
we were just standing there like,
That would
holy
be me
everyone.
on deck.
I'm not actually the male crew were there too. Everyone was just like, "Is that
We
And we're
had
all like,
literally
"Yeah,
24
LeBron
crew
James."
members just looking at this guy, being like, "Oh my god,
And yes, he's just as gorgeous
he's
in
amazing."
person.
I believe
He's a stud.
Katie, what is your tequila?
What is my tequila?
What are you drinking? What are you making? Are you
What's your
making
favorite
a tequila?
tequila?
Tell us everything about tequila.
Wow. 818. You know what? She's done well. It's quite a sweet tequila for me. Shout out to Kendall Jenner. I love that bitch. But
Oh, she has a tequila.
she has a tequila called 818.
Of course, Malia has no clue.
Yeah, I
I'm
don't
a
keep up with the
big
Kardashians.
Plaza Azul girl. I'm actually a big mezcal girl, but that's purely because I live in.
Well, let's talk about mezcal. What's your favorite mezcal?
Plaza Azul. So Plaza Azul, people know it. It's a very high end tequila, but you know what?
The
Stay
white bottle
tuned.
with the
One day
blue.
this girl will have her own tequila. And
Tequila slut, right?
Yeah, the tequila slut will have her own tequila. So
And if you want Katie to be a slut, give her tequila.
Yeah, it goes both ways.
I'm just a good vibe on tequila.
Yeah.
Everyone's a good vibe.
You're
on
a good
tequila.
vibe always,
I
but
wanna
on
share
tequila,
this
you're
with the
extra
world.
good.
I would say like me on tequila I'm a sloppy mess. Katie, it just functions normally. Like I couldn't actually tell
It's
if
like
she was
drinking
drinking.
coffee in the morning for
Yeah.
me.
And she can just take a shot of tequila, no wincing, no nothing. I'm like dry heaving, about to vomit. Katie, it's like she drank water.
Oh, I'm Amanda. Ahoy, ahoy.
Oh yeah, we got
Oh, we
audio.
We have,
got
we have a
one
question from the crowd over here.
Yeah.
Yes. What's your name?
Yes.
Amanda.
Hi, Amanda.
Below deck preference sheets meetings. How often? How long do you get that before the crew? And is that, how
happens
real
the day
yachting?
before.
Is that how real yachting happens?
No, absolutely not. No, I'm gonna put that. I'm gonna clear that one up straight away. Normally, I will be on it. So, say we're on charter right now, and we've got a charter in a week's time. I would already have the preference sheet. My provisions order already would have gone in. In normal yachting, that's how it happens. On below deck, we do get the preference sheet prior to the preference sheet meeting. We don't get it with the photos. We don't get it with who it is. They just give us the basics of what we need to order because we still do our own provisioning. So we normally order it a week ahead of time. The preference sheet meeting normally takes part a day prior to what you guys see on the show because no way in fucking hell is it possible to ring up a provisioner and be like, hey, we need this in an hour's time. Like,
Yeah.
no.
But that's part of the drama is
It's
like,
just-
oh, they want caviar from Switzerland. And we're like, oh.
Okay, yeah, but I ordered that a
Interesting.
week ago, but you guys don't know about
what
that,
my
okay?
favorite part about the preference sheet on below deck is they go to the deck crew and they're like, the guests want every single water toy every day. And I'm like,
that is
no
our job.
shit. I know. You don't have to tell me. And they're like, yeah, but they want like the slide. And I'm like, I know.
Everyone wants the slide.
obviously.
And
Yeah.
Malia's like, I popped a hole in it last night.
Yeah. They're like, the guests would love to enjoy the water. And I'm like, no shit, they rented a boat. They didn't want to enjoy the water. I'd be a little concerned.
They want to eat nice food cooked from a chef. Yeah,
They'd love to go swimming.
They love high-end
Thank you.
service.
So glad you typed that up.
But they need life jackets and a lifeguard because none of them actually know how to swim.
Every guest wants a white party. Yeah, no shit. We know. But yeah, no, we usually get that far more in advance.
Oh, I don't need to.
Oh, you need a microphone, lady.
You
Let's
do.
hear it.
I'm not enough. So when there's someone who,
You need it.
Pretend like I'm not here.
when someone totally lies on their CV and they're on the show, does that happen in real life or is that for the show?
Does that
It
happen? in
does.
real life?
We actually just
It does
experienced
happen
this.
in real life, and you
But
know
they
what?
get
The
caught.
same outcome happens. You will get fired.
Yeah, in yachting, if you lie in your CV, it gets figured out very quickly. I mean,
And it's
Have
actually
you
a
watched the
really
new
severe
season, like
thing.
Reagan?
Like, how do you think you're an employable crew member if you lie in your CV? Like
Reagan
seriously?
said she was a bosun
Yeah, and Delaney
Of a-
said she was a stewardess.
of a
Whew.
of a rowboat. I don't know. Yeah, it gets figured out pretty quickly.
Ew.
No, I disagree. I think some great people come from cruise ships. We've had some good crew. But
Actually,
there's
yes,
like a little
Megan and
adjustment period.
But like,
Okay, I would say the best crossover. So
You're doing
for
great,
people like for deck crew that come from cruise ships, a lot of the times it's like a rude awakening because we have to work on deck. But stewardesses, I feel like there's
Yeah.
it's a mixed bag.
yeah.
But the cruise ship industry is wild.
It's so wild.
Like you
and
think
it's so
yachties
different
are
to
wild.
yachting.
Yeah. But it's just not the same. Like they come onto our boat and they have to work a lot and they're like, this is weird. So it's a mixed bag.
Is that what happens in real yachting? The tip envelope, or is that a
No,
below
the
deck?
tip envelope is not a
Bring your
thing.
tip
It
envelope.
gets wired into our accounts,
Yeah.
even on the show.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay. But
That's all that's all for
still
show.
do it? Like, do they still
We
do
have
the
a
tip
meeting at the
envelope?
end, and if the captain has already signed on the dotted line with the charter guest, and we know the charter fee, then yeah, that is a thing. But the cash, no, that is purely.
But my first season of Below Deck,
Yeah. 100. We split
What was
50,
that?
like as a normal split. We split between. So on our yacht, we have a lot of crew on rotation, and we split between every single crew member on the payroll. Captain, everyone.
equally. But some yachts don't do it that way. Some yachts do it by rank. Some people do it by who's actually on board versus who's on rotation. So to say that there's like a one way that happens on every single yacht is not the case. So if you hear us say something tonight and then you hear from someone else say something else, that's because there's so many ways it can be done on every different yacht. And that comes down to like the management company, the captain, the owner, all those kind of things. But my first season of Below Deck, the tip meeting, we did get handed our cash and we walked away with it. That has since changed. We don't walk away with cash. We were blowing it. When you're in yachting, you're first, like, I think as an American, I can speak to this. Like, I was never in an industry where I got tipped out like that. Like, I'd been a server, I'd been a busboy or girl. And yeah, like I'd never experienced getting such a big tip, especially in cash and in euros. And they say in yachting, like your first lesson is like everyone is going to go blow one of their tips. Yeah. Like you're going to spend it on something absolutely ridiculous. And it's true. Yeah. That's your like big lesson. You're like, shit, I just spent all that money on something I could have put like a down payment on a house.
Yeah.
I have a question for Katie though. Katie, what was the dirtiest toilet you've ever cleaned?
Oh God, mine.
Wow. Yeah, clearly you don't know about Malia's GI issues.
Our own cabin bathroom. No, I'm kidding. That's disgusting. I'm joking.
I think my first year in yachting, I was on this charter, and the fact that these guests, you would think the more money you make or the richer you are, you would still have basic manners. No, that wasn't the case. Like people literally do not do not know how to flush a toilet. I'm like, what? Just because you're rich, you just all of a sudden lose all this basic shit that you grow up with? Like, and honestly, I'm like, what the f-?
They
Like,
shit in the shower a lot.
Yeah. Or just in the bed.
Yeah.
And on that night, I'm gonna go pee.
Yeah,
you guys
go
got
pee. Like sometimes it's not the toilet that's the dirtiest, and that's really gross because you're like, we're dealing with adults. Yeah. They shit in the shower a lot or the bed, which is not great for interior.
I mean, any woman in here has been to a bathroom where a woman doesn't flush the toilet. It's like, come on.
Yeah. Okay. So in case you guys didn't hear, she asked do you Captain Lee and Captain Sandy do anything other than just their televised season? No. No. So they did. Don't get me wrong. They did, but they have no reason to now. They are very successful in Below Deck. They're still captains. Like Captain Sandy is a 3,000 ton unlimited captain. So she doesn't captain regular yachts. No, but she doesn't need to. Who's my favorite captain I've ever worked under? Oh my God. Okay, so I love Captain Sandy. Okay, I love her. Absolutely. I admire her. She's what made me want to get in the industry, like stick in it. And I think that Captain Sandy gets a lot of shit that's unfair. Like Captain Lee can do whatever. He can say whatever.
He gets away with way more than Captain Sandy does,
as
which
soon
is
as
bullshit.
Captain Sandy pulls the same like big dick energy, she gets a lot of shit, which I don't stand for, because women as captains and women as anything in a leadership role have the same right to be as direct.
And she also has a really beautiful, like, empathetic side.
She's an amazing
actually
person.
So understanding.
Yeah.
Like, I could go
And is she a
speak to her.
good captain? Yes, she is. And does
She's
she
supportive.
deserve to be treated just the same as Captain Lee and paid
110%.
equally to Captain Lee? Yes, she does. She's got the same qualifications. She's got, the same experience. So yeah, I love Captain Sandy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She was nothing but absolutely incredible to me. And, without her, I would have been really fucked, because that whole experience was like absolutely wild. And that whole Lexie situation was more belief up. But she's such an empathist. And you know what? If you actually go to her and you show her, like, this is I'm struggling, like, she will sit down with you and be like, okay, this is what I think you need to do. And that is what, from a captain, that is the kind of energy you need. We are meant to be able to go to them and confide in them and trust them and be like, look, help me. And she's like, look, this is what we're going to do. And you're like, okay, good.
Also,
That's a good captain.
This season was the first time we've ever seen Captain Sandy like hit or touch anything. Captain Lee has
and that
touched-
wasn't up to her. That's not on her.
Yeah. Well,
That's on the people around her and the
she
crew
didn't have the
around
best
her.
bosun.
The most unqualified bosun probably in Below Deck history. But anyway.
Anyway. But yeah, to
our 2
answer that
cents.
question, I love Captain Sandy and she's amazing.
It's from James, who you know. What's
We
the,
love James.
Yeah, what's the scariest thing you've seen aside from him driving the tender?
I was just going to say it's James as a deckhand. So James is like a bigwig in the financial world. He's one of my best friends.
He's amazing.
And he decided to come. He watched Below Deck and was like, I want to be a deckhand. And I was like, yeah, I love you. His personality is amazing. James is amazing. And I was like, okay, yeah, James can come work on deck. And then I slowly was like, James, what did you do before this?
Let's go back to
You should do that. But no, I think the scariest thing is we lost steering. Yeah, on our boat, actually.
In
Remember?
the middle of a storm in Capri.
Yeah.
We actually have it on camera.
Oh, no, you're talking about when we were dragging anchor.
Oh, okay. Well, what
Yeah, we were dragging anchor in close proximity to a bunch of other boats this summer in the middle of a lightning storm.
Yeah,
I was out on deck in like 50 mile per hour wind.
It was literally torrential
lightning.
rain. We were on charter. We had guests on board, and it was like, it was heavy.
It was terrifying.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's another thing to note is like you see a lot of nice days on Below Deck. I think there was an episode where I was like in a storm, but that happens a lot more than you think. And we're out there fighting the weather and the whole safety of the yacht and the crew. Yeah. That was a
literally
terrifying
rely
night.
on the deck and the captain in
Yeah.
that moment. Like I remember the captain is
Our
radioing
captain was a
me,
badass.
and because obviously we have crew down at all hours, and he's like, wake the fucking second officer up, wake it up.
Yeah.
And he was like, have you literally screaming down the radio at like the interior, because he knew all of deck are doing all the stuff to make sure we're safe. And so we have like interior running about like getting another crew up, like you need to get the up, the captain is
Yeah.
calling you need to go to the bridge right now.
Like basically we were like this, another boat behind us, and we were dragging anchor towards that yacht, but we were in
We
this
have
wind and lightning
somebody
storm.
from the boat behind us was videoing us, and we have footage, and it's literally you see us and just like lightning bolts like
Yeah.
above our yacht, and it's like
I had the pleasure of
and in
standing on the
Capri,
foredeck.
anyone that's been to Capri, it's like yacht, like it's just boat after boat after boat after boat. So
But yes, James, that was probably the most terrifying. So where were you?
Girlfriend here is a big fan of you guys.
Hi.
If I'm gonna start watching Below Deck, which episode do I go watch right after this?
Oh god.
Definitely watch the first episode of the first season that Malia was
No,
on.
don't.
And watch
Don't
that
do
whole
that.
season.
No, please don't do that. I was young.
she started season 2.
I think season 6.
But it'll teach
Yeah,
it
you know
shows
what?
you how much
Below
she's
Deck
grown.
season 6. It's good.
I didn't work with Chef Ben, but we've partied together in Fort Lauderdale.
He never
he's
did
so much
meth?
fun. He's a lot of fun. No,
No.
he's not done med. No. But Ben med.
That's what I thought she
Med
was asking.
season,
I was like,
Amanda.
yo, PG, yo.
Jeez. Keep it clean. No, but Ben's awesome. I met him in real life, and he's a lot of fun. Him and Kate. Kate is also. I thought
Kate is a vibe.
Yeah,
She
I thought
is
she was super
honestly-
scary, but she's amazing.
She's actually really lovely
And
and,
she's
really
super smart.
beautiful, and she has this other side to her, and
Yeah.
she's actually fucking cool.
She's
Like,
actually
she
a
is-
huge astronomical. Like she loves NASA. She loves like the space shuttle. Like she's a huge nerd,
she's
and I
cool as
absolutely love her.
like. She's
Yeah,
cool
she's
as fuck.
cool. I thought I was not going to have that thought, and I do. She's really
Yeah, she's
We
she's
interviewed
real
her in
cool. Who
season
else do you
1.
want to know the gossip about?
All right, ladies, last question.
Okay.
You mentioned something earlier about a new podcast.
So just
Yes.
because me and Malia don't do enough shit together or live together in the closest proximity you can ever get on under the planet, we have decided to do a podcast together.
Can you say it?
It is called.
You had some difficulty earlier.
It's a tongue twister. It's called 30, Flirty, and Flying.
Yes.
So basically, what we are trying to do is like we have a lot of like women reach out to us in our DMs about our lifestyle, our job, our traveling. And you know, we are 2 women in our 30s, I guess, breaking societal pressure. Like, you know, we're not married, we're not having babies, we're living our life, we travel, we legit live out of a suitcase. And, you know, we want to get into traveling, we want to inspire women to travel, we want to inspire women to just feel fucking good in their skin. And you don't have to be doing what society's meant to be telling us what we're meant to do.
Yeah. Wait, I forget. Do we have to say 35? Oh, this is fun.
Oh, cute! I kind of want to put that star in the middle.
We are currently in France.
Malia, what time zone are you on? Are we on the same time zone?
I have no idea.
We've had a really hectic week at work, and Malia's probably had one too many wines, but here we are. Because you
Are
can
we gonna
explain-
cut that out?
No, I'm here for
Oh.
it.
I'm sick. I always get sick while traveling. Let's talk about that. Yeah, I was gonna talk about Micronesia.
Okay, when you were backpacking, right?
Yeah.
We were only there for such a short time, and we wanted to achieve so much.
That's
Mhm.
that. You don't
Yeah.
go out after dark. You're not going to bar. There weren't bars, but yeah,
Wow.
interesting.
We had people on scooters chasing me, like knocking on the door, and my boyfriend had to put like a sarong over my head because they just wouldn't leave us alone. They were just like staring at us. I know. If you have the time to do it, I recommend doing it. Just do it.
Yeah, do it. Pick a place.
Like I said, there is such a difference between a vacation and travel.
Is that a rat?
Ahoy.
Okay, no one says ahoy, Cam.
Hey.